Hello 8th graders, it's Mrs. Craft again, and now I'm going to show you how to graph for your post lab for the speed challenge lab that we've just done. So in addition to answering all these wonderful math problems, you will be creating a graph similar to this one. Obviously I made this handout so that you can't do it directly on here because that is not accurate. Our fancy new notebooks, they happen to have graph paper, which is why they are awesome, or at least another reason why they're awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and show you on the next couple slides. When graphing your data, you first want to make sure that you've gone back in your old your data table that we used to write down our times, that you've colored a separate color for walking, walking backwards, skipping, and running. So in my example, orange is for walking, green is for walking backwards, pink or fuchsia is for skipping, and black is for running. Now you'll notice a big change from the last slide. Okay, so if I started here, you just saw graph paper. The first thing you want to do is go ahead and add your axes in wherever you have room in your lab notebook. If you're on page 1 or 2, wherever you're squeezing it in. You should know that the y-axis is going to be our speed in meters per second, so you will have had to do the math first in order to be able to graph this. And then our x-axis is distance. So we all had 5 meters, 10 meters, and 15 meters. For the purpose of my graph, I'm going to go ahead and skip 3 lines and then make 5 meters, skip 3 more lines, make 10, skip 3, and I'll be at 15. So I guess I'm like skipping 2 and then going on to the third one. But you want some sort of unified amount of boxes in between just so it doesn't look out of proportion, since these are all equidistant from 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. For the y-axis, it might make sense to go by 2s depending on how fast the fastest person in class was for you guys and how much space you have in your graph. So they don't have to be proportional to the x-axis. But if you're going by 2s, then you'd go 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm going to decide to go ahead and go by 1s, just because in my hypothetical examples, I don't have anything that's too crazy fast. So then you just go up and you need to make sure that you do enough numbers that you would get to your highest point, which you'll see later that I didn't do that. Okay, so when graphing, you obviously need to look at your data table. So I've now just put in an inset of my fake data table. And you can see that my colors here match the colors I'm going to be using to graph, so that's good. You also want to make sure you actually have this kind of key in your graph paper, so next to your graph. Now, in our data table, we had distance and we had time. Distance was already given to us. When we did the lab, we recorded our times, and then you should have gone home to do all your calculations here. Now you can see I have crazy amounts of digits because I just had Google Sheets do the math for me, which I can totally show you how to do later if you don't know how to do that. Pretty awesome and easy. But since I just had Google Sheets do it, now all my numbers, it won't matter because I'm just going to basically round. When looking at walking, at 5 meters, the speed was 1.25. So please, please, please ignore the time column. We only used that to calculate speed, but speed is what we're graphing. So at 5 meters, it's 1.25. That is my dot right here. At 10 meters, I had a speed that went lower, so it was 1.1. Now you can see my dots are not perfect, but I was unable to get them where I wanted, and it's okay. Close enough. So you'll be better at making graphs than me, I'm sure. But at 10 meters, it's about 1.1, which is this one. At 15 meters, the speed went back up. So maybe I was back on pace with my walking, and now I'm up to 1.25. The last thing is, you don't want to forget that we all start at 0. So you start at a speed of 0 because you're standing, waiting in line, and you start at a location of 0 because you're behind the starting line. Once you've graphed your 4 dots, then you're going to go ahead and connect the dots. So you can see mine here. I use the same color, but now you can see my path, that maybe I was going kind of fast from 0 to 5, and then I slowed down a little, and then I sped up a teensy bit. So that's basically all you have to do with your one color. But the thing is, we want to graph 3 more things on this same axis. That way you can actually compare, you know, which ones were faster and which ones were slower, and if you were able to maintain a speed at any of these points. So with the magic of videos, I'm now done with all my graphs. Okay. Okay, so if we look at green, green was next, walking backwards. I had a speed of 1, 1, and then it declined. So I sped up, stayed constant for that time, and then slowed down. Then for pink, skipping, that makes sense that it was a little bit more fast, but maybe I slowed down towards the end because I got bored or embarrassed to be skipping or didn't know how to skip. And then running, the fastest person in class, maybe they sprinted and then tripped or who knows what to get to 15. But how convenient that they slowed down just enough that I could fit my data table in here, right? Okay. So what you want to do is make sure that you have all 4 lines graphed on yours. I do not want a bar graph. So I'm giving you these instructions because I want 4 different line graphs represented on the same set of graph paper. Okay, please don't give me 4 charts. I want 1 graph with all 4 lines and all 4 colors. If you don't have colors and you're not dealing with colors, then make different patterns on your lines or different shapes on your dots, and that's totally acceptable. I'm fine with that. Okay, if you have any questions, please talk to me. But this video is here so that you can watch it as slow as you need to do it. Please, when you're connecting your dots, please use a ruler so that it looks nice and neat. These notebooks are wonderful and you want to make your work the best work that you can make. Thank you.